Good afternoon and welcome to today's Digital Dealer webinar. Today's webinar is sponsored by UnityWorks and is titled Essential Video Strategies to Conquer and Dominate Your Market. Today's webinar presenter is Bill Sura, VP of Sales at UnityWorks. This webinar will run approximately 1 hour with a question and answer session at the end. Please welcome Phil.
Well, thank you so much, and I very much appreciate those of you that are online today, and we have some exciting opportunities. Some are brand new concepts that we're just in the process of rolling out. And as mentioned, we're going to focus on video strategies and how do you leverage video to really dominate in your individual market. Before we get into the actual agenda, I thought it would be good to talk about some of the factors that everybody that's in retail is probably aware of, and these key points will forever change the retail game. And these key factors are making it more and more important that retailers actually have a video strategy to focus on. So let's start with cord cutters. Hopefully everybody knows that term. If you don't, a cord cutter is somebody that has severed traditional media, so cable TV, and they're consuming their media in different ways. And with the latest stats, if you look at the individuals in America that are in the age bracket 22 to 37, 85% of those folks have cut off, let's say, traditional ways of consuming media. Overall, it's 65%. So if you're relying on traditional media, which has worked very well for 50 years, meaning TV, cable, you are no longer reaching a high percentage of these auto intenders or people that you're trying to reach in your marketplace. Mobile. 60% of all automotive website traffic is coming from a mobile device. Everybody lives with mobile. It's not coming, it's here. Google has obviously been a big influencer. It's by far the number one provider of leads for all of the OEMs. Everything starts with search. Interesting stat tied to millennials. In the next 10 years, 40% of all vehicles are going to be sold to the millennials. The millennials are more diverse, they're more educated, and they're a lot more tech savvy. And so the way that retailers operated, let's say 10 years ago, is going to be a disconnect for millennials. Store visits are down. The good news is website visits are up. So website visits are averaging, we'll round up a little bit to 5, but in terms of actual physical visits, it's under 2. Now, I've shared this stat with a number of GMs and dealers in different parts of the country. With all of the stats that I share, that's the one that most dealers will argue about. And so if you fall into that category, think about what you feel the number of store visits would be today compared to, let's say, 2 years ago or 3 years ago. And certainly, hopefully, everybody would agree that it's down. New auto dealers, from a service and parts perspective or from a fixed perspective, only control 29% of the $340 billion being spent with service and parts. So again, that's a huge opportunity. I just was involved in meeting with a group of 25 service managers in the local market in Minneapolis. And some of the service managers were saying, hey, I'm booked out 3 weeks. I don't want any more business. Quite frankly, I think that is giving an opportunity to other dealers that are more specifically focused on taking care of those prospects. The core today, or what we're focused on today, is video. It's the number one ad format to discovering new vehicles. Almost 60% of new car shoppers are looking for video content. The takeaway there is if you don't have a video strategy and your neighbors do, the competition down the road, you're probably at a disadvantage and you don't even realize it. With that 59%, 42% of those people are watching 30 minutes plus worth of video content. And so during this webinar, we're going to talk about different initiatives and different ways and different types of video that consumers are looking for. So from an agenda perspective, here's what we'd like to cover. Key components for developing high-performing video ads, essential video elements that would be required on your website, and leveraging video lead responses. VLRs, the Video Lead Response app, is red hot. So I have a couple examples to show you how dealers are leveraging that content. Reviewing performance metrics tied to video campaigns. What should you be expecting? And then a concept that I've actually been talking about for years, but it's finally now just catching on, video site mapping. What does that mean and what's the impact? So let's start with key components for delivering high-performing ads, starting with the basics. And there are different opportunities tied specifically to leveraging campaigns. We as a company, since 2015, we've actually leveraged 28,000 Tier 3, meaning dealer campaigns in the U.S. and Canada. I don't think anybody's close to that. So with that history, we've learned a lot. We're leveraging primarily 3 key platforms. What used to be called DoubleClick is now part of the Google marketing platform, YouTube, and Facebook. When we run these campaigns in terms of looking for key opportunities, we've learned that different platforms will actually perform differently as far as the duration. So with Google, we're typically running 30 and 15-second spots. With YouTube, we're typically running 20 and 6s. In both cases, these are skippable ads. With all of the campaigns that we're running, they're skippable. In terms of Facebook and Instagram, it's shorter, usually a 15-second ad. So before we go any further, we'd like to get a little bit of insight as to, with the dealers that are listening in, are you running ads? And with that, I'd like to open up a polling question. And the question is, how often do you run video ads with Facebook or Google? The responses would be A, we believe in video and we run campaigns every month. B, we run campaigns once a quarter. C, we never run campaigns. And do we have results?
Hey, Phil, these are the final results. 43% we believe in video and we run campaigns every month. We run campaigns once a quarter, 43%, and 14% have never run campaigns.
Okay, good. All right, so it sounds like a lot of you are engaged in running video, which is great. You know, I held a similar webinar about a year ago, and the numbers were much lower, so congratulations on that. All right, so getting back to what we've learned as far as all these campaigns, and Google has been a tremendous source for us as far as coaching and teaching us. And here are some of the 5 key areas, regardless if you're running these campaigns in-house or if you're leveraging a company like UnityWorks. When you're analyzing and looking at your video content, these 5 elements should be part of the process. Number 1, go bright, go fast. Bright means bright colors. Fast, obviously, people will get very, very bored very quickly, especially if they're looking at one of these ads on a mobile device. Have a core featured focus. Don't bounce around from concept to concept. Inject people. People want to respond. They identify with elements where people are involved, and people respond more favorably if it's outside. There are different ways that you can actually even size up the video. So in terms of the way that we produce video content, if we're producing video content for Facebook, it's going to have a different aspect ratio or different sizing compared to Google. And so the 3 most popular areas are square 1:1, so a square if you would, 16:9 aspect ratio, and 9:16. Now, we saw some testing, and I haven't confirmed this with the folks at Google, but with both YouTube and what was formerly DoubleClick, we believe that they're actually allowing a larger screen to actually showcase the video content. But the point of this slide is, if you look at the stat on the right, people, especially the millennials, do not want to have to rotate their phone in order to see a video. And you may have experienced this yourself if you're taking one video with the same aspect ratio and trying to run those campaigns with, let's say, Facebook, Google, and some type of traditional media ad, you're probably going to get the black bars at the side, which is a bad experience. And so paying attention to even the sizing is key. We've been involved for probably the last 8 or 9 months with a concept called bumper ads. Those are 6-second teaser ads that you run in conjunction with either a 15, 20, or a 30-second type of ad. This is a visual, again, coming from the Google team, and the idea behind a bumper is to tease and amplify and then echo the information. And so we will typically introduce 3 bumpers, and I'll show you how all of this fits together with an actual example. The retention or the completed view rate with the bumpers are always 93%, even though they are skippable. They're very short. People will watch it, and based on the information that Google has shared, the retention of information is very, very high. So if you're identifying the right audience, and we'll talk in a minute about, well, how do you identify the right audience? If you identify the right audience, and if you have content that is applicable and is of interest, your retention or completed view rate is going to be very, very high. If you're identifying the right audience and you're serving the bumper ads, you'll actually see movement with the more traditional length, the 20s or 30-second ads, when that same prospect actually sees that. In terms of some creative insights on what you should be doing with the 6-second ads, because this is obviously, in a lot of cases, even for agencies, going from, let's say, 30 seconds or 15 seconds to try to create a video in 6 seconds. There should be a singular focus, establishing the ad. As I'd mentioned, we typically will run 3 sixes. Google refers to it as a flock of sixes. Don't think in terms of a 30-second ad. It should be very specific with a singular focus, but have a call to action or stick the landing. I mentioned briefly that we're running with 3 different primary platforms. These are the 3 giants from a video perspective, starting with YouTube. Second largest search engine, by far the largest video site, number 1 video site out there. Second largest search engine, only behind their parent Google. In terms of 18 to 49-year-olds, even just on the mobile, they're reaching more than any of the TV network broadcasts. And specific to automotive, if you look at where people are consuming their information for auto intenders, they dwarf even the manufacturer's site. So 56% for new car buyers, that people that were actually consuming and looking for video content leveraged YouTube. It dropped to 37% for the manufacturer sites, plural, 29% for Facebook. The good news is the dealership website is on the list. So it's 28% for people consuming video content. Part of that is probably a lot of dealers do not have video content. Also, a major positive, just a few years ago, the dealership website with this measurement did not even make this list. So more and more people are expecting to see video content on the site. Now, when we go to the Google marketing platform, formerly known as DoubleClick, Google spent over $1 billion acquiring this company. It allows us to actually target auto intenders by segment. So if we're running an ad for a, let's say, midsize SUV, we have the ability to zero in on prospects in a geo-targeted area, meaning, let's say, 15, 20 miles around the store. Some of you may be in a more rural area, so we can extend that as an example to 50 miles. And when those prospects are hitting, let's say, up to 12, 13,000 sites, the last time I went through and actually looked at the count, thousands of sites, we're chasing the auto intender by segment rather than hoping that those auto intenders actually hit one of our sites. So if they're hitting a common site,
like CNN or ESPN going to the video content, we have the ability to serve up the ad that is skippable after 5 seconds. Now, usually with the Google marketing platform, we're serving 30-second ads. Those are still performing really well. The ad exchange sites that you see below are probably not sites that you're accustomed to unless you've really been involved in the advertising world or video. But again, what this allows us to do is have access to thousands of sites. So between YouTube and the Google marketing platform, we have a huge opportunity to actually hit a high percentage of auto intenders. The third area or the third platform that we focus on is Facebook. And if you look at the stats on the right, they have huge loyalty. The average Facebook user will spend 50 minutes every day on Facebook, visiting 14 times a day. Now, Facebook is very smart. They acquired Instagram. At this point, Facebook is performing from an auto perspective much better than Instagram. We still serve ads on Instagram, but in terms of completed views and click-throughs and engagement, today Facebook is the better of the two if you're trying to sell cars. Now, that will quickly change. There are a lot of stats out where the teenagers, as an example, as a large percentage, are rejecting Facebook. They're embracing Instagram. Well, we're not selling cars to teenagers. And Facebook is still a huge opportunity to identify a specific audience. Let's talk about how we identify an audience. Especially with Facebook, we leverage Oracle. So I'm taking a slide from our partner Oracle to actually show how if you have data, this is a great way and a very effective way of running campaigns, not just for, in this case, let's say if you're trying to find people interested in Volkswagen Jettas, but you can actually target conquest, or from a conquest perspective, look at the cars that those folks are most likely going to be interested in and serve a specific audience. Now, Google has tremendous data as well, first-party data. And so, again, with the video campaigns, unlike television, where you're serving an ad to the masses, let's say you're in a market with 2 million people, that ad goes out regardless of age, regardless if they're auto intenders or not. And the power that you have with the video strategy that we're discussing right now is you can be very narrow in your focus and zero in on the auto intenders by segment in a geo-targeted area. Now, let's talk about, again, how search actually applies. This is just a Camtasia. Everything starts with search. If you notice, though, how Google has set up their ability for the consumer, it's very easy to migrate into video. And this is leveraging content on YouTube. So if you don't have inventory videos, you're losing, again, an opportunity even tied to the basic search. So people in markets will actually look just like in the example, in this case for a BMW, but they'll also want to find or easily access video content. So this dealer in Chicago has done a nice job because they have what we refer to as full motion VIN video overviews. We've actually been doing what's referred to in the market as stitch video for 14 years, where we automate this, and for $300, we'll create all of the VIN video for new and used cars, post it to a YouTube channel so that it's available. So let's get back to, let's say, identifying a specific audience. And in this case, Jackie is a new car intender. She lives in Dallas. She could live anywhere: Wichita, Minneapolis, Cheyenne, Wyoming. She earns $70,000 a year. She's interested in a compact sedan based on her searches. She currently drives a Ford Focus with $90,000. So how can video actually help a retailer, a dealer? Well, some of you are probably still involved in primetime or TV, and you're focused on identifying those primetime spots, trying to determine the best time to get a good ROI for the investment in, let's say, TV or cable. Because of mobile, and this was one of the key points that we talked about at the beginning, mobile has made prime time whenever Jackie is on her phone. It may be at midnight, it may be at 5 in the morning. But if Jackie is using her phone or going to a desktop application, we have the opportunity to basically serve these ads. So as Jackie, once she's identified as the intender, and let's say that we're representing a Volkswagen store, as Jackie is going through some of her common sites, that's when we have the ability to actually serve up an ad throughout the month, regardless if she's on CNN or if she's going to Facebook. And I'd like to walk through some examples just to give you an idea as to what some of the video content should look like.
So I'm going to put you on speaker so that everybody can hear the video. So again, this is Jackie. She's going to ESPN to get the highlights as an example of a sporting event. And we would serve an ad similar to this.
Dream big in the all-new 2019 Volkswagen Jetta. Get behind the wheel and enjoy more space. A host of new available features. Plus, we've got you covered. Don't miss out on this incredible offer. Click now to visit our dealership and view our video showcase.
So in that ad, we started with branding with the store. We included an offer. We added the visuals for the dealership. Now, we're not going to run that exact same ad as mentioned over and over with every video platform because that's going to get boring to Jackie. So let's say as Jackie continues during the week, she may be on YouTube looking for something totally unrelated to looking for a car, but we've identified Jackie as a prospect. We could serve an ad like this.
The all-new 2019 Jetta. Life as big as you make it.
Now that's an example of a bumper ad. Short, sweet, 6 seconds to keep get the attention of Jackie. Now later on, she may be specifically going to, in this case, Facebook. And here's an example of an ad that we could potentially run on Facebook.
Arriving in style. It's the all-new 2019 Jetta.
Again, that's a bumper ad. And so Facebook is encouraging dealers to actually run these bumpers or 6-second ads as well as Google. So again, Jackie is continuing her journey through the month. All of these are not going to be run in a linear manner. So it's basically at different points in the month. We don't want to overdo it, but you can set the frequency of the number of ads that she's going to see.
Volkswagen's most popular model has just been remodeled. Get behind the wheel of the all-new 2019 Volkswagen Jetta and enjoy more space, plus a host of new available features. And we've got you covered with the People First warranty, America's best bumper-to-bumper limited warranty. Click to discover more about the all-new Jetta and take advantage of amazing offers. Click now to visit our dealership and view our video showcase.
All right, so you notice that we specifically had other content, other key points tied to Volkswagen's warranty, but we still have the branding, we have the offer. Now, once you have Jackie, part of the opportunity is having Jackie click through to your website. And so this kind of is a segue into what type of content should you have on your website. We believe strongly that in 5 seconds, 15 seconds, even 30 seconds, you don't have the ability to really showcase all of the key features tied to any of the new models. And so we actually have created, we're not the only company doing this, but we've created content for every new model out there to really showcase what the 2019 Jetta is all about. So I'll play just a portion of this, and think of this as a virtual test drive. So what we're doing is we're pulling Jackie down the sales funnel. We're getting her attention throughout the month with the 6-second bumpers, with the 20-second video content that will give some additional insight. But what we'd like to do is have her, whether it's a click-through or basically later on in the day after she sees one of these spots, go to your website. So here's an example of a landing page that we would recommend.
From its sporty looks to its efficiently powerful performance to its comfortably appointed interior, there are lots of reasons to buy a Volkswagen Jetta. Over 17 million of them, apparently, because that's how many Jettas have been bought so far. Choose from 5 models, starting with the S and moving through the exclusively sporty R line. The Volkswagen Jetta combines power and efficiency.
So there are different segments. If a consumer is interested in looking at performance or safety or technology, they have that actual ability. We've also built in the ability to showcase other models for the dealership. So Jackie may actually be interested in a Passat. But what, again, this allows a dealership to do is to recognize that Jackie's only going to, if she's average, visit 1.8 dealerships, 1 or 2 stores. So how do you become the lucky 1 or 2? Well, you're giving her information to really create more of an overview as to what you guys have to offer. All right, so again, the whole goal of this is to really drive her into the store. This is a new product. It doesn't tie in with Volkswagen or the Jetta, but I wanted to share it with you. This is something we're rolling out now we're going to be introducing it at Digital Dealer coming up next month. And it's a video carousel ad. So the carousel ads are pretty popular. We've been running some carousel ads with multiple video content. But what's unique about this is it will start with a video, and then we'll actually grab specific VIN content, thumbnails of the individual VINs where a consumer can actually look at the inventory on Facebook. The engagement with the beta tests that we've been going through is very, very strong. So I thought it'd be kind of fun to look at this. This is an example.
Trucks cost less at George Coleman Ford in Travelers Rest. Grab lease payments of just $399 a month on the 2018 Ford F-150, the Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Click to view our incredible inventory of F-150 models. The truck of your dreams awaits you at George Coleman Ford.
So the consumer or the prospect will be served this ad, and we know that they're a truck intender in this point, interested in, let's say, F-150, Silverados, Ram 1500, and even the video points to direct the prospect to actually take action and to scroll over to look at specific examples. So again, that's a pretty exciting opportunity. We've been working on this for months, and we're ready to roll it out very shortly. So if any of the retailers are interested in that, you guys can send me an email or call me after the session. All right, so we've talked about high-performing ads. Let's talk a little bit about video elements that you should have on your website and a concept called video lead responses. And by the way, as I'd mentioned, one of the examples of a website video experience that I would suggest strongly is having new model content, not just VIN content, but new model to really showcase key features for your new models that you're selling. Now, we have another polling question, and if we could pull that up. And it's tied specifically to video lead responses, and what we'd like to do is find out, are you using a VLR with your sales team? Are some of the folks using it, or have you never even heard of it, or you're not using it? And that's going to be part of this second agenda point. So Megan, once we get the total.
Looks like those answers are still coming in. 1 minute.
Okay. Okay.
All right, looks like 10% have never tested it at our dealership. 50%, we have some salespeople using VLR, and then 40% we're using this tool extensively with our team.
Oh, that's good. And again, those are strong numbers. So I definitely have the advanced group on this call. And for those of you that are using it, we've actually done case studies where if you can get a sales team just to use a video response, that they'll sell more cars. Bottom line, it's more impactful, more emotionally engaging, and it separates your response from the folks down the road. So the Napleton Group is a group of, they're based in Chicago. They have a group of stores in Florida. I have a couple examples from their team. They're doing a nice job, just as an example. And for anybody that's at the 10% or you're just kind of testing it, I would highly recommend that you do some case studies in-house yourself. And if you have the ability to actually use an app, and you know that actually sets up another point. I would recommend having an app that allows the management to kind of control and to review specifically the video content going out, integrating it into your CRM, and being able to measure from that perspective. So with that as kind of an introduction, let's look at a couple examples of how VLR can actually support your sales team.
Good afternoon, Tracy. Thank you again for reaching out to us here at Napleton, Lexus of Milwaukee, where the customer comes first. My name is Veronica. I'm the Internet Sales Manager, and I am going to show you this beautiful vehicle that you inquired about. As you can see, Tracy, this 2016 Lexus ES 350 is equipped with a moonroof, also illuminated entry, power driver and passenger seat, and much more. This vehicle has a clean Carfax report with only one previous owner and is Lexus certified. I'm confident you are going to love this vehicle, and I can ensure you the best customer satisfaction. We are open Monday through Thursday from 8:30 a.m. until 8 o'clock p.m., Friday from 8:30 a.m. until 6, and on Saturday from 8:30 a.m. until 5. Please give us a call at 414-228-9000 to save you time. Again, my name is Veronica. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.
It's a 2016 Lexus ES 350. Once you arrive on the scene in this luxury sedan, people will instantly know things about you. You are aggressive, assertive, and demand only the best. You'll look forward to every drive with features like these.
Now I'm going to mute it so I can talk over this. So Veronica did a great job. I've watched a lot of sales people actually do video lead responses. Veronica's a pro. She looks at the camera. She keeps a smile on her face. She's upbeat. She's articulate. And what she's doing with this app is she's leveraging an introduction of herself and then adding through the app one of the VIN videos of the car that she's trying to showcase. And I believe that she's going to have some type of call to action at the end, if I'm not mistaken. But this is what you should be expecting for the teams that are actually running or leveraging video lead responses. Here's another example from one of the other Napleton stores, just to give you another example.
Hello, Larry. My name is Jacqueline, and I just wanted to take a second and say thank you so much for choosing Napleton's Northlake Kia. I see that you're interested in that beautiful 2018 Kia Sorento, and I just wanted to let you know that I do have the Sorento here at the dealership, and it's ready and waiting for you. I have a short video clip for you just to give you a little bit more info on the Sorento, and then afterwards I'll provide you with my contact. That way you can call me directly, and we can go ahead and set up your VIP appointment, and you can come on into the dealership and take a look at the vehicle in person.
Here's a 2018 Kia Sorento. This Sorento offers you extensive cabin space.
Now, Jacqueline, again, great personality, smiling, upbeat, and if you were getting this as a prospect, hopefully you would conclude, hey, this person looks very approachable. It looks like somebody that I'd send my mother to. This looks like a good place. And again, getting back to that 1.8 factor, how do you separate yourself from the masses? Well, you have your salespeople break down that fear that exists of how are they going to be treated once they go into the dealership. And if you have salespeople, you train them and work with them to articulate who they are and keep an upbeat type of attitude. So I love both of these examples of what these folks are doing for their stores. The next piece I'd like to talk about is a concept called full motion VIN video. Again, this is an application where dealers are a little reluctant in some cases to do something like this because they don't want to do the voiceover. And what we have the ability to do is actually add a voice track and then syndicate that for the dealer. So I'm going to play a little bit of the voice track.
Standing still, and its twin-power turbo engine doesn't disappoint once you're moving. Driving Dynamics Control lets you choose a driving mode that fits your mood from Eco Pro to Sport Plus. Steering wheel mounted paddle shifters give you control of the 8-speed Sport automatic transmission, and dynamic traction and stability control make sure no power is wasted. Inside the cabin, comfort rules with advanced vehicle and key memory moving seats, mirrors, climate control, and more to your preferred settings. iDrive brings infotainment.
Now what we're doing here is we're merchandising the individual VINs. And again, as I had suggested or mentioned earlier, for 14 years we've been building VIN videos for prospect or for customers that we support, different dealers across the country. And we have different levels. For any of you that are involved in the luxury brand, something like this would be highly recommended because you have the ability to create a different type of experience. Another opportunity would be our 360. And the 360 allows engagement, and we actually have stats to show that if a 360 is tied to the website, to the VDPs, that the time on that VDP actually goes up because this allows the prospect with the hotspots to go in and to get a better overview as to what the car is all about. So again, this comes back, this is probably the 5th time I've said it, but it's important. How do you become the lucky 1.8? Well, you give additional insight and information to that prospect. You allow them to actually get involved in this, and if you're actually doing the full motion and the 360, it's the same video. So this is actually a video overview that becomes part of the 360. So you don't have to shoot it multiple times. To do the 360, you would have to have a separate camera for the car for the interior, but you're doing one take and you have the ability to more effectively showcase and merchandise that inventory. All right, so also touching on opportunities that we would recommend for video content on the website would be something to drive the service side. This next product at this point is only for FCA dealers, so if we have any FCA dealers, I definitely would like you guys to pay attention. If you're representing some of the other brands, we can create content not exactly like this, but we have content tied to the basic services. But if you think about somebody hitting your website, specifically in service, what's the experience? In a lot of cases, and I review a lot of websites on a weekly basis, I have never seen anything quite like what I'm about to show you. And what we did was we actually went out, we shot content at different FCA stores to create a series of videos tied to service specials, expert tips, how-to videos, and accessories. So I'm going to play some of this video. Again, this is a Camtasia, and it allows you to actually create more interaction when a prospect is actually hitting your website. We always start with an offer of whatever the dealership is actually promoting that specific month.
You don't have time for your vehicle to break down, and you don't want to shell out cash for major repairs. So stop in for a Mopar oil change today. Oil is the lifeblood of your vehicle. It keeps your engine lubricated and clean. Whether your vehicle uses regular, semi-synthetic, or full synthetic oil, our factory-trained certified Mopar technicians have you covered. We offer fast and professional service for all makes and models. Don't miss this opportunity to avoid costly repairs. Extend your vehicle's life and improve efficiency with regular oil. Brakes.
Now we're in what's called the expert tips. So the key categories are focused over on the left. So it starts with service special. So if your service special is a tire, let's say buy 3 tires, get 1 for $1, we would lead with that as the first video. So you can queue up whatever the special is for that particular month. The expert tips video would be, in this case, tips tied to brakes.
Sounds when you brake. Vibration in your steering wheel. A mushy or pulsating brake pedal. Your vehicle pulling to one side when braking. And a hot burning smell. Brake work is one of the most common vehicle repairs, and it's inevitable that your brake...
Hi, my name is Becky.
And now we're into a series of how to actually connect or pair up your phone, how to preset your radio settings, etc.
Dodge, Jeep, and Ram vehicles. You'll find buttons to operate the HomeLink system on the overhead console or on the sun visor. Before you begin, make sure you're parked outside the garage door you'd like to program it to. We also recommend you put new batteries in the handheld device you'll be programming. You'll also need to know the type of garage.
And the final piece that is highlighted on the left as far as the key areas would be accessories.
Do it right the first time. Choose from interior accessories like all-weather floor mats, cargo management systems, cell phone chargers, and more, all to make any trip more fun. Plus, there's plenty of exterior accessories too, from bike racks to chrome accents. We have what you need to enhance any ride. To keep your Jeep performing its best, be sure to ask for genuine Mopar parts, the same high-quality parts that came with your vehicle. At Mopar, better quality.
So I've actually met with different groups of service managers, individually as well as a collective group, to get feedback from them. And quite frankly, one of the groups in Phoenix gave me input tied to making sure that we added accessories, since every service department makes a lot of money in that arena. A lot of prospects do not know about what the options are from an accessories point of view. We have some key links down below tied to Express Lane. A lot of you probably, and I know it's called different things depending on the brand, but if you're trying to promote, let's say, some type of quick service opportunity, again, add a video. To the right, you'll see an About Us or an overview video, again, showcasing why a prospect should come into your dealership. Now, you may say, well, are people actually watching this video content? And the answer is yes. So I've got a couple page overviews as far as Google Analytics on the engagement and the bounce rate. So the bounce rate is over on the far right. The bounce rate, and this is pretty consistent, is 1% and 2%. So people are watching video content. In this case, the average was 8 minutes being spent just on this page with 2,000 people. Here's another dealer that with 1,000 page views for this particular period of time, the bounce rate was 1.96. The average time on site was 7 minutes.
Now, what this is confirmation that people are interested in getting educated when it comes to service. And again, if you have content like this on your website, you become the subject expert or a subject matter expert in your community, because, again, I haven't seen anybody have anything even close to this. Another piece that I'd like to talk about is actually integrating video content from a service department on your YouTube channel. Hopefully, with the advanced group that I have, based on the numbers, I have a feeling everybody has a YouTube channel. But the question I guess I would throw out is, are you putting service content into that YouTube channel as well? As I had shared, I was just with a group of service managers, and I was kind of shocked because none of them had any video content tied to their fixed operations on their YouTube channel. And so I actually bought a Ford Explorer for my wife, and I live in Minneapolis, and I was doing a search for video content in Minneapolis, and the first site that actually came up, and again, this is an opportunity, is a dealer in Chicago. And so I want to play a little bit of this overview that Joe Rizza did.
Hello, I'm David Claster, Service Director at Joe Rizza Ford and Kia. Today I'm here today to introduce you to our complimentary multi-point vehicle inspections. A complimentary inspection we perform every time you come in for service. First, we go over to your car, and we want to check your tires. So we're going to start the car up.
So I thought that this service manager did a very nice job. Again, he looks presentable, he looks knowledgeable, he looks like a guy that would treat a consumer fairly, and that's what you want. If you have a service manager that doesn't look the part, have one of your service writers do an intro, or have somebody in the store do a series of intros. One of the hot initiatives, according to the Google team from a fixed operations perspective, is having content tied to oil changes and how to change the cabin filter and basic changes, as well as the introduction that the RISA team actually put together. So let's move into what are some of the points that you should be looking for from a metrics perspective. How do you know if you're doing a good job, especially with video campaigns, which is what we led with? Well, it's not just about click-throughs. I'd mentioned that when we do have a click-through, that we like to direct that traffic to a page that is specific to what their interest is. So if it's fixed operations, we want to send them to a video-enabled landing page, what we call a showcase player, that has video content tied to that. If it's a campaign tied specifically to sales, we want to direct that traffic to a page that allows a prospect to see a virtual test drive. Now, usually, and if all what you're looking for is a click-through rate, the best performing out of the three giants that I shared with you, Facebook, Google, and Google YouTube, and then what used to be called DoubleClick. DoubleClick is going to perform the best, but it's not just about click-throughs. As a matter of fact, this is coming from our friends at Google with people that are running ads on TrueView or the DoubleClick network. If you look at the percentages as far as change in consideration, favorability, and purchase intent with people that just watch part of the ad compared to all of the ad, the metrics and the stats are unbelievable. Change in consideration goes from 57 to 76%. Change in favorability goes from 24 to 52%. Change in purchase intent goes from 35 to 61%. So a key metric that everybody should be looking at would be completed views. So if you're running, as an example, a 15, 20, or 30-second ad, how many of those people, if it's skippable, are watching all of it? The higher the percentage of completed views, the better off you are. That kind of segues into this overview as well. In terms of creating and pushing or pulling those prospects through the sales funnel. If you are doing a nice job or an effective job with video content, you can actually pull them through the sales funnel. So imagine going from awareness to consideration and action, kind of tying this in. If you're effectively leveraging video content, you have an easier and more effective way of actually identifying those auto intenders, giving them reasons to actually come to your dealership. We've done a number of case studies. This was one of the brands where we worked with 118 pilot dealers, and Google did a good job of actually tracking the impact on lift or the sales lift tied to a search. So from a search results for the DMAs where we focused, it was actually 83% higher for searches for that specific brand, 83% higher in the areas where we actually had the DMAs involved in the pilot. If you look at the bottom stat, as far as the searches specifically for dealers tied to this brand, it was a 60% increase year over year. And so what this shows is there's a direct correlation with search and running video campaigns. We had a different brand that we just completed a campaign. It involved 302 dealers. And for the very first time, Google actually was able to track in-store visits. So people that watched to completion one of the 20-second ads that we were running with all 302, we'll call it 300 dealers. We ran two 20-second and we ran a series of 6-second bumper ads. And the results were pretty impressive. And I've got a short video highlighting how this campaign went. And Google is actually working very aggressively to allow stores to actually track in-store visits. It's not quite ready at this point, but within 60 days or within the near future, those of you that are running YouTube campaigns will have the ability to not just see completed views and click-throughs to the website, but you'll actually be able to monitor and track the effectiveness and see who came into the dealership and may have been influenced or was influenced by, at least partially, by the video content.
So here's an overview of that campaign.
So that's kind of a fun little video that we put together for the OEM that was involved, as well as educating basically people that are interested in video. Again, today we cannot track individual store visits with individual stores. You have to have a certain media threshold. As indicated in this video, we were working with $1 million, and again, for the very first time, Google was able to track it, but they're working very, very diligently. They're working with their engineers to allow dealers to have a certain threshold that's a lot lower than $1 million to actually see specifically what's taking place. So we talked a little bit about a completed view rate and what a good job looks like. In terms of averages, and you probably picked up on this, the average that Google sees for completed views would be 20%. As a company, we are usually at 25 to 35%. This particular campaign, we did really well, 37%. 53,000 store visits for the 300 dealers representing a 60-day campaign with stores across the country. So this was kind of a home run. So if you're not involved in YouTube campaigns, I would highly recommend that you really take a focus or take a look and actually get dialed in so that you understand it, either doing it in the store or actually leveraging a company like ours. Okay, the last piece that we'd like to talk about is a concept called video site mapping. And what video site mapping allows you to do, and every website works with site mapping. And because Google owns YouTube, they place a higher value on video content that matches whatever the search is. Now, with the showcase player that I showed you guys, there's a lot of video content involved in that. And we have the ability to actually lay in a video site map that allows Google to actually crawl and identify that video content as a match. And we're getting unbelievable results or opportunities that will complement what you're doing from a paid search perspective. And so as in the example, we're right at the top. This is a paid ad, obviously. So we're number one on the search results, and we're seeing this across the country. In this case, we actually had a couple spots, number 1 and 2. And, so for the first time, or for a time in a lot of cases, dealers have the ability to actually get into the game. I've talked to a lot of dealers that have given up on trying to get on page 1 when it comes to fixed operations because of the aggressiveness and all of the money being spent by the independents. And so the point of this is, if you have video site mapping and a video SEO strategy, you have the ability to actually combat that and gain visibility and complement what you're doing from a search perspective. So with that, what I'd like to do is open it up for any questions with the remaining time that we have. And if we do run out of time, I'll give everybody my contact information where you can reach out to me after the fact. So Megan, I'll let you kind of field any questions.
Great. Everyone, we're now in the Q&A portion of the webinar, so put any questions you might have to the questions tab to your right. First question, what is a good budget to get started with video and how much should I spend?
Yeah, that's a good question. So some of that depends on where you're based. If you're in New York City, you'd probably obviously want to spend more money than if you're in a smaller community. We have, as an average, total budget, we have campaigns that will typically be about $2,000. So, and I always hear from GMs and dealer principals, can you really make an impact for that amount? If I'm in a larger metro area, I'd probably go to $3,000 or $4,000 total budget. But there are a lot of dealers that will actually start with us, and they'll have a total budget, including production of the video content, managing, and media at, let's say, $1,500 or in that area. So you don't have to spend that much money in order to make an impact in a marketplace.
If I can only start with one product, what should I start with?
As far as, I assume, with the platforms, right, Megan?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it depends on what you're looking for. YouTube is really coming on strong. They're putting Google's putting their brightest on the YouTube side, and YouTube is becoming a stronger and stronger opportunity for any of the retailers. If all what you're looking for is click-throughs, I would focus or look at what formerly was called double-click because you have the ability to zero in on a specific audience, and you have access to thousands of sites. So either YouTube or double-click. But I would encourage dealers to test having all three, Facebook, YouTube, and double-click. Now, with that stated, this kind of ties in with the earlier question. You need a little bit more media in order to make it effective. You can't spend $1,500 and effectively have a campaign leveraging YouTube, double-click, and Facebook. So add, let's say, $1,000 for each platform to really effectively reach the audience in the typical market. So if you're leveraging all three, and you don't have to, $3,000 would be kind of a baseline.
Does the VLR integrate with the CRM?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. There are some integration opportunities. Some of the CRMs will accept it. If not, there are different ways of actually just grabbing a link and sending it through the CRM so that you have the ability to track engagement. So there are back-end analytics through a dashboard that we can provide the dealer with when you're using the video lead responder. You have the ability to see whether or not the person opened it, whether they forwarded the VLR, which happens, and that's a good sign, and the engagement, the number of times they actually watched it.
Great. Well, thank you so much for attending today's webinar, and thank you to Phil and UnityWorks for some great content today. To view this webinar on demand and future digital dealer webinars, please visit digitaldealer.com/webinars. Thank you and have a great day.
Thanks, Megan. Thank you.